All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Call Haloyam La, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwaf that's listening in. Now we'll wrap this out, Lord willing, at the lesson is edified. Brother Shawab, I'm one back at you with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is called Sodom and Gomorrah was an example. This will be the real deal. Okay. All right, because at the end of the day, what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah was an example of those that were to live ungodly in the same exact manner. That's what the judgment was going to be, that was going to come upon them, the flames. All right. But this time, the Lord is going to destroy this place. All right. America, Babylon the Great, forever. All right. So this is going to be the real deal when America is destroyed. All right. Now, going into this topic real quick, if I could, real quick, let me prop this up real quick and show you, all right, what this article says. Okay, Chelsea Clinton, this is from Zero Hedge. Chelsea Clinton comes out in favor of PORN for school kids. Right, and these devils is just wicked as hell, man. You can just see it in their faces. I know as I'm getting closer, it's not focusing. But you can see it in their faces, man. The wickedness, all that adrenochrome that they've been using and all that now is wearing off, you know. And when it starts wearing off, you can see the demonicness in these people. Okay. But I'm gonna go into this article. All right. So it says Chelsea Clinton comes out in favor of PORN for school kids. Says Bill and Hillary Clinton's daughter, Chelsea Clinton, appears to have taken on a new activism project, right? Which that's an actual, I believe that's a card of the Illuminati card game. It's called, it says GAY activists, right? So, it's telling you right here that she's coming with the new activism project defending attempts to force kids as young as kindergarten age to be exposed to sexually explicit, right, rainbow, Skittles material at school. Okay. So now they're going to try to force this on the kids. And this is what they've been doing for a while, man. They've been gradually forcing this upon your kids. All right. You started hearing more about it in 2020. You've been hearing about it for a while now, but they were pushing it, on 2020, telling you that it was going to come, and little by little, you started hearing about certain schools bringing it out. Okay, to the point where now I hear of a lot of schools that are bringing this material out, and this is going to continue to keep spreading and spreading until it reaches all the ears of your children, right? Because this is the agenda they want to push upon your children. They want to get them while they're young. Why? Because what does the scripture say? Scripture say, train your child up in the way that he should go. All right. So when he gets older, what? He will not depart from me. So if they attack your children, see, you're not the one that's training your child. All right. Especially with the people of today and the way these parents are, they don't parent their child. All right. They could care less about their child. They're not they're not on top of what's going into the ears and the minds of their children. All right. So these devils are taking your children, since our people can't do their parenting job, and they're parenting your children. All right. They're parenting your children to the way they want them to be. They're training up your child in the way they want them to go, which is astray from the word. All right. They want to make sure that your kids are being taught wickedness, and that the wickedness that they're being taught, it's okay. You see? So that's why they attack the children, because the children's mind is a sponge. You can tell a child whatever and they believe it. You can easily manipulate and brainwash the children. All right, and they're starting it at a very low age, man. Kindergarten. Children don't even know how to wipe their ass yet, man. Kids are still choking on their food, man. They don't even know how to eat yet. You see? And what they're gonna do is they're gonna teach in those classes about, the rainbow Skittles bullshit, all right, and affect the minds of your children with the disease, all right, that's plaguing the earth right now, because this is one of the biggest diseases, all right, that is being pushed out there right now, man, and it's killing our people slow because our people are falling for the trap. Okay, so it says Clinton tweeted the following post, claiming that Republicans are trying to ban books and that is harmful to children to remove material. All right, see, look, they're telling you that it's harmful to children to remove material with the Rainbow Skittles community bullshit, with all these type of themes. You see? Then it says Chelsea Clinton, she had posted a tweet on Twitter. It says over 50% of the attempted book bans last year involved books with the Rainbow Skittles characters and themes. Books are a vital way that children, adolescents, and adults, which they ain't no fucking adults in the society, man. These are damn grown ass kids, man, living in their second childhood, never grew the fuck up. All right, and this is why they're easily able to fall into these traps, man. Because in order for you to grow and be a grown man, grown woman, you really got to be into this truth, man. Once you have YAHAWAH'S, you know this truth. Now you are a grown adult, all right? Because now you're able to discern right from wrong, as opposed to when no one ever teaches you right from wrong and you just keep doing all the wickedness throughout your life. You think the shit is okay, and it's not. You didn't have no true guidance, but once you have the guidance of YAHAWAH'S, all right? Now you're basically on your own, and you're going to be tested in your truth in this faith. You see? So it says, they're trying to put it to you in a good term, like, okay, books are a vital way that children and adolescents and adults learn about themselves. All right, dude, we don't have to learn about ourselves. It's natural to know who the hell we are. It's natural to know I'm a fucking man. I got I got a sack, and they don't. You see? So why are you trying to tell me what I am when we should naturally know? You know? It says books are a vital way that children and adolescents and adults learn about themselves and our world. See, our world, their ways of society, their wine and philosophies. All right. It doesn't say that it's a book that's vital, all right, that for adolescents, children, and adults to learn how the world operates, how the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua gave us, all right, this world to be lived in under true order. Okay. It says bans such as these are nothing but harmful. And the damn book that they show is GENDERQUEER. That's the name of the book. You see, this is the shit that they pushing upon your children while you working 8, 10, 12-hour shifts. Because remember, you don't have full access to your kids all the time, man. All it takes is 1 hour. Nigga, you only take 1 minute for you not to be around your children, for your child to learn the wrong shit. All right, and the shit stay stuck in his head forever. All right, so let alone that you're away from your children 8 to 12 hours from work. You don't know what the hell they putting in your child's mind. Yeah, you could teach your children the righteous way, all right, but temptation is always going to be there. Satan is always going to be there to try to mess that up. You always going to have bad influences from these 2/3 children that their parents ain't teaching them shit, and then they take those bad habits and they bring them into the school and they teach them to the rest of the kids, and the rest of the kids thinks it's funny, all right, or they think it's the way. So, at the end of the day, us being parents, we're trying to parent our kids to the best of our ability. So hopefully, that The Lord always protect them and they stay on the righteous path, man. But it's hard because again, you're not with them 8 hours of the day. All right. So it says, continuing on, it says the name of that book, the book shown in the photo, features sexually explicit material. This book contains visual depictions of ORALSEX, all right, uh, of master, you already know the rest of it, and adult sexual contact with a minor. See, this is the shit that's in the book, man. And they're teaching this to your kids. And these people want to still think that we're in a normal society, that this is the way of life. Okay? Look at the nasty filth that this devil is pushing upon our people, man. All right, which let me see. It says, as we have covered it, as we have covered, the truth is that no one is calling for the books to be banned, but many are calling for the books that contain pornographic images and even, pedo themes, as well as scientific statements about biological gender to be removed from school libraries. This material is not age appropriate for children. Okay. And it's not, and it never will be. Why? Because it's wickedness. All right. It's not to be taught, period. All right. Let's see what else it says. There's this guy named Chad Felix that posted on Twitter. The photo on the article you're quoting features a book with explicit illustrations of sex acts, a book about incest, one a sex story about two 10-year-old boys, one about a man, raping, and isolating a 12-year-old girl, one about a teen girl who seduces a man who kidnaps her. You see? Straight filth, man, that they teaching your children. And again, these people think that we live in a normal society, man. They think that this place is not going to be destroyed. All this shit here, they're pushing bestiality, all right? All this pedo bullshit, okay? But they don't believe that the RFID chip is that MOTB. They don't believe that World War III is gonna happen. Okay. Meanwhile, this bullshit is actually happening in front of their faces. All right. The things that they thought would not, it was too far fetched, that would never happen. It's happening in front of your face. So if that's happening, it can only make sense that this place has to go because of its wickedness, man. Right. So let me see. I think that was the end of the. Yeah, that was pretty much the point. It's got a couple of other people that were pretty much giving tweets out. All right, but I ain't gonna read them all. Y'all pretty much get the point. All right, if you want to look it up, it's on Zero Hedge. All right, just put Chelsea Clinton comes out in favor, and I'm pretty sure it'll come right up. All right, if you want to read the rest of it. But let's get into these scriptures. All right, and the wickedness that you're hearing about. This is why this place is called Sodom. All right, in Egypt. All right, Egypt because we're in captivity. All right, Sodom because look at all the wickedness. Look at the shit that they're pushing out. This is the same things that were happening in Sodom. All right, Sodom and Gomorrah. Which Sodom, when you go into that word in the linear, it goes into burning. Okay, and Gomorrah goes into an iniquity. All right. So the names of lands and things like that, they're crucial because these things actually mean things, man. So the Lord, Sodom meant burning to the Lord, you see? It meant burning. And that's exactly what this place is going to do. It's going to burn, just like Sodom and Gomorrah was. As a matter of fact, scriptures tell you that it was more tolerable, all right, for Sodom and Gomorrah than this city right here. That's how wicked this place is. It's 20, 100, 144,000 times worse than Sodom and Gomorrah was, which they are the same spirits coming back. All right. It's just that their mind is even more wicked now. All right. At the same time, the Lord said knowledge will be increased. So knowledge on the left hand side and knowledge on the right hand side is going to be increased. And those that are wicked, they're gonna be doing shit that you just out of this world. All right. But let me go into real quick. All right. And when you read Genesis 13, and it talks about, I believe it's in 13, it talks about how the men of Sodom were extremely wicked, like hella wicked, man. And then when you go into, Genesis, I believe is, let me see, I think it's the 18th chapter. All right. Genesis 18, and uh, excuse me, Slovakia, 16. All right, it says, and the men rose up and this is what was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, and the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. All right. So who you think was the ones that were giving the cries out of Sodom and Gomorrah, man? Those people that were righteous. Okay. You had Lot, you had Abraham, all right, that were vexed in the spirit of what they were seeing. Okay. And those that were righteously, all right, with that were in righteousness with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, they were crying out to the Lord of the wickedness that was going on around them. All right, which is a matter of fact, reading that scripture, it just reminded me of another scripture, Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, showing you that the same thing that was happening in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah is happening here. And this place is considered as Sodom and Egypt. All right. So let me read that again, and then I'll jump into Second Ezra 15. This is 18 and 20 in Genesis. It says, and the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come onto me, and if not, I will know. All right. So, and it says, and the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, and Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? All right, which we're going to go back to that real quick. Let me just jump into this before I start getting into that story right there. All right, showing you that the same thing that was being said at that time, all right, is being said today. And showing you that that's how you know this place is going to be destroyed, just like Sodom and Gomorrah, but worse. This is Second Ezra 15, right? And 6. It says, I'll start from 5. It says, behold, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. All right. So this whole earth is exceedingly polluted through whose philosophy, through whose wickedness. All right. From Esau teaching, all right, the rest of these nations, all right, and giving them what? The wine, the fornication, all right, giving them their philosophies. That's the same thing that happened to Sodom. Sodom was the top, that was the most wicked at that time. But what did it have? Gomorrah and the other cities that were that were unlike to them, Salaki, that were just like them, basically. All right, they were in that same like manner. Okay, and what happened to those rest of those cities? They were destroyed along with Sodom. Okay, same thing that's going to happen in America. America's going to be destroyed along with the cities that are in that same like manner. The rest of these countries. Okay, so it says, "For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth." So where's that wickedness coming from? Starting with Esau, Edom, and his wicked ass, his profane ass, and vile ass, and then the rest of the nations following after them. That's why the whole earth is exceedingly polluted with that, with the wickedness, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Yeah, their hurtful works, these things that we see, things like this, that they're pushing, they're forcing upon your children, that PORN, and it's gonna be on some wicked shit. Those are those hurtful works that are fulfilled because they're pushing it out there. It says, "Therefore saith the Lord," this is the point, "I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, and I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch them out and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with the plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof." All right. So the Lord is hearing the cry of us in this time, and this time that we're in right now. All right, crying out to the Lord of all the wickedness is being done out there. You see, and the Lord sees that our people, that the righteous is being led to a flock as a slaughter. So He's gonna deliver them out. He's gonna take them out. All right, same thing like you was just hearing, basically in here. Let's go back to Genesis 18 and 20. And it says, "And the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, because the cry," Salakia, and the Lord said, Salakia, "because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know." And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom, and Abraham stood yet before the Lord Yahweh, and Abraham drew near and said, "Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?" And the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua said, "If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake." All right, so here it is for 50 people. If there was 50 people in Sodom and Gomorrah that was righteous, the Lord would have spared that place. All right, and when I'm reading this, I think about America. Because in those last days, you ain't gonna find nobody righteous, man. All right, the only ones that's gonna be righteous is the 1/3 of Yasharallah, man, and that's gonna seem like 2 people in the whole world, literally. You see, because why 2/3 of our people's wicked, all these other nations is wicked, and we just read that the whole earth is exceedingly polluted with wickedness. All right. So in those days, to find somebody righteous is gonna be a miracle. That's why it tells you in Second Ezra, I believe it's the 15th or the 16th chapter, there's gonna be it's going to talk to one person is gonna be the greatest feeling in the world. I forgot how the scripture goes. All right. But right now I'm just roughly paraphrasing. I'm not even paraphrasing it right. All right. But to see another man of the Lord, or a woman that's in this truth in those days, it's gonna be so beautiful. It's gonna be valuable, man, because you're not gonna find people that are righteous out there, man. That's why this place is not gonna be spared, because there ain't nobody righteous in here, man. If our righteousness is considered as filthy rags, imagine these damn devils, man. All right. So it says, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack five of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for the lack of five? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it if 40 it I will not do it for 40's sake. All right. And it pretty much got down all the way to 10, which I'm gonna skip through that. All right. And it says 32, and it says, and he said, it says, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there, because the Lord was starting to get pissed off that he kept trying to bring the numbers down. All right. And the Lord was basically telling him there ain't nobody righteous in there. You see? And it says, and he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communion with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. This is going into 19. It says, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed them himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. So the angels came, right? Why? To see what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. All right. To see how wicked this place really was. And it says, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in onto him, and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. You see? So this is how wicked Sodom and Gomorrah was, that you had men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old, young, all the people from every quarter. So you had all types of ages around this, surrounding the house, trying to get at these angels, because they wanted to what? They wanted to have sex with the actual angels, man, because the whole place was just already infested with wickedness of you already know what I want to say. All right. Phagonometry and all that bullshit. All right. So they were trying to get the angels to experience their ways. Okay. And it says, and they called unto Lot and said unto him, and which, matter of fact, let me keep reading. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that in NLT real quick. It says, they shouted to Lot, where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out to us, so we can have sex with them. You see? And it says, and Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known men. So he had two daughters, all right, that were what? Virgins. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back. They said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Basically what they're saying is that he was an outsider that came to the town, and here he is trying to judge them. You see, and it says, and they pressed Salakia, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them? And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. So here it is, they trying to break down the door to get to the angels, man. And if you really think about it, that's some zombie shit right there. All right. You know, that's the type of shit that you're gonna see in these last days. Things that is just like you will never expect to happen or think it can happen. You know, um, they talk about this zombie apocalypse and all this zombie pandemic. That shit really gonna be for real. Because at the end of the day, what those zombies are really, what those people are lifeless bodies. All right, they're all part of the congregation of the dead. They have no understanding of the scriptures. So what they're gonna remain in the congregation of the dead. So that means that they're dead bodies walking around with no true soul. All right, for you to have that true soul, man, you're gonna have real faith. All right, and what's gonna happen is that these lifeless bodies are gonna be taken over by demons, because that's what that was at that moment. That was hella demons on top of these people to the point where they wanted to actually sleep with angels, man. All right, you gotta have some bugged out mentality for that. All right, so they were under demonic activity basically in their mind, to the point where they're trying to knock down the door, acting like straight zombies. They didn't want to hear nothing that lie had to say. Here it was, he was offering his two daughters that were virgins, and they didn't even want that. They wanted the man, showing you that Sodom and Gomorrah, they were doing all types of fagonometry, man, all types of bestiality, all right, strange flesh. Okay, this is why the Lord has showed this example and this account in the Bible to show you this is a way to never ever live. All right. As a matter of fact, let me grab that real quick. This is 2 Peter 2 and I think it's 2. Yeah. I'll start from 4. It says, for if Yahweh spare not the angels that sinned, all right, meaning the first fruits, okay, that were perfect in the beginning, and then we were what? We were not even spared, Lord willing, we those men, all right? We weren't spared, and we were put into these bodies of corruption, man, these bodies of bondage, all right? It says, if Yahweh spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into the chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. See, these bodies that are corrupted, all right, to catch straight judgment. It says, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. All right. So if he didn't spare his greatest creations, okay, from the beginning that Yahawashi made, all right, after Yahawashi was created by the Father, Yahweh, then Yahawashi created his first fruits, okay, and created the rest of the world, all right, and we were put into chains of everlasting darkness, these corrupted bodies, and the Lord only spared 8 people, all right, in the time of Noah, when there was, I'm sure, billions upon billions, all right, that were living. And it says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that are after should live ungodly, and deliver just Lot, all right, because Lot and his 2 daughters was the only ones that were saved at that time, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment, to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government, presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. And this is what you were seeing there. They were not evil to, they were not afraid to speak all wickedly like that. Here it is, you had two angels in front of them, and they're over there talking some nonsense, man. Okay? And they're given up to what? They walk after the flesh and the lust of their uncleanness. They despise government, meaning despise true laws, man. True ways that the Lord has given us to live by. All right, law, statutes, and commandments. All right, and it says, whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before the Lord, but these as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. You see? So these are natural brute beasts, right? Those that are born in vain, man. And all that they're gonna do is perish out the way. That's why they speak evil of the men of the Lord, and they try to come up against it, right? Because we're bringing out righteousness, and righteousness is always going to overpower wickedness. Righteousness is always going to irk demons. That's why these people get roused up, you see, because their demons are getting agitated and irked, because we're basically destroying these demons' peace. You see, because these demons, when they're on you, they're at peace. They love that shit. But the moment they got to get up out your body, or they hear you talking about the Lord, all right, they get pissed off. They get roused up, all right, and they just start acting even more crazy. All right, so they become the natural brute beast, and they're going to be what? They're going to be taken and destroyed. What? For speaking the evil, for the things that they understood not. Okay, and they're gonna perish in their own corruption. All that wickedness and filthiness that they have, that they've learned from Esau and these other nations, man, they're gonna be taken away from it. All right, and that's what you saw right there. They were so brainwashed at the moment by demons, man, to the point that they wanted to sleep with angels. All right, so going back to that real quick. Real quick, hold on, let me see what So like, I'm just reading something that's just juicy right now. Let me continue reading this from 2 Peter 2 and 12. But these are as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understood not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they, and what's going to be that reward? Straight flames, man, fire. All right, being burnt and disintegrated down to the dust. I was about to say to the bone, but them bones is going too. All right, it says, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count in pleasure, that as they that count it pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are, and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings, while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery. See, this is the point. Having their eyes full of adultery. All right, because that's what their eyes were full of in those times. Adultery, all right, fornication, sleeping with family members, all right, having sex immorally, okay, bestiality. That was the shit that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. The same shit that's happening right now in front of your face. They're trying to legalize bestiality, all right, pedophilia and all that shit. How can you not say that the scriptures is not real, man? The scriptures literally said that America will be considered as Sodom and Egypt
And what you're seeing in the times and the things that were happening in Sodom and Gomorrah, they're happening right now, man. That's how you know these scriptures is on point. All right. So it says, having eyes full of adultery and that cannot cease from sin. Because once you get consumed in that shit, it becomes what? It becomes iniquity to the point where it becomes habitual. Now it becomes normal to you, to the point where now you are a reprobate mind. You're not needed by the Lord. You're just a waste of fucking life. Okay? And it says, having eyes full of adultery and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls. All right? Because, yeah, that's what they're doing. Deceiving souls that are not stable with this word. You see? Deceiving those that don't have YAHAWAH'S protecting them. This is why it's important, because knowledge and wisdom is going to be the what? The stability of your times. So it says, beguiling unstable souls, and heart they have exercised with covetous practices. Covetous practices. These are all wicked ass practices, all right, that they're exercising on your children. And the adults that are doing it, those are grown ass children, man. Because no real grown ass adult is not gonna be with the shits, man, on that. If you're in the right state of mind, you could tell this shit don't make no sense, man. That this is all wicked. So it says, in heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children. All right, and that's what's going to happen. Listening to this, the bullshit of this society, all you're doing is just cursing your children, man. Which your children already got curses upon them. So I was talking to someone about how when the time came that Yahushua was being crucified, what did our people scream? Raise it, right? Let his blood be upon us. And that's exactly the curse that's upon our people. That's why people be dying left and right like that, man, going through the shit that they go through. Because that curse, that blood is still upon your hands to this day. You see? And it says, which have forsaken the right way and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam, the son of Bozar, who loved the wages of unrighteousness. You see? And that's what you're going in the ways of Baal, Balaam, all right? Balaam, whatever, what is that? Yeah. Balaam, okay? But these are those same spirits, all right, back on the earth today, doing the same wicked things, man, but even worse. All right, let's grab, let me finish reading that real quick. Genesis 19 and 9. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, all right? Blindness, bugged out, madness, truly probably blinded their asses, all right? Both small and great. See, showing you again that you had small and great at that moment. That's how wicked that Sodom and Gomorrah was, that you had children doing wicked shit, man. And the same mentality as the older heads in there. Okay? It says both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them that waxen great before the face of the Lord Yahweh, and the Lord Yahweh has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up and get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-laws. And it says, then The morning arose, the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city. All right, which Gomorrah again went into that word iniquity. All right, I think it was filled uh, a lot of iniquity. I think it was. Let me see. Wait. Actually, let me just finish reading. All right. And it says, and while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand and upon the hand of his wife and upon the hand of his two daughters, and the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass when they had brought them forth abroad that he said, Escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountain lest thou be consumed. All right. And I could pretty much end it there. And what ended up happening? All right. They began to run. Okay. You had Lot's wife that looked back. Okay. She wasn't supposed to look back. Why? Because looking back was like showing that you still cared for what was in that city. Okay. So basically, you were part of that city. Lot's wife. It really showed Lot's wife's true colors. You see, because that means that if you look at it in the spiritual sense, if they were there any longer, then eventually Lot's wife probably might have been one that would have fell into the ways of Sodom and Gomorrah also. You see, so by you showing that you look back was showing like you missed something from there. Okay. And we can't do that. That's the same thing with this truth. We can't look back. We got to remember Lot's wife and never look back. Because he that looked back and put his hand to the plow is not fit for the kingdom. All right. So there was so many different types of edification the Lord is showing you there, man. All right. But continuing on, that's pretty much the point on that. All right. And, what ended up happening was that brimstone and fire, all right, sulfur came down upon Sodom and Gomorrah and destroyed all the cities that were in that same manner. All right. Showing you the same thing that's going to happen, okay, to this place. Because when you read 28, it says, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. All right, and that's what's going to happen to America. America's going to have, from generation to generation, smoke going up, up, up. All right, for a very, very long time. It's not going to be forever, but it's going to be for a very long time. Okay. Matter of fact, let's grab Jude. Jude 1 and 7, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication, all right, immorality, or every kind of sexual perversion. That's what it says in the NLT. You see, they were doing all types of wicked ass shit, and that starts from coming from what? All right, all with Esau, man. Because let's grab that real quick. This is Hebrews 12 and 16. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. All right, let's go into fornicator. That word fornicator goes into porno. A man who prostitutes his body to another's lust for hire. A male prostitute. A man who indulges in unlawful sexual intercourse. All right, that's what he does. He indulges in unlawful sexual intercourse, man. He goes out there and teaches you all this nasty ass, wicked ass shit on these damn porn sites and shit like that. All right, he'll go out there and teach you it's okay to stick your rod up the anus and all that shit. Like, that's all going off, man. You see, got him teaching you it's okay to have contact with animals, when it tells you in the scriptures that if a man lie with beasts, all right, as he lied with mankind, he shall be put to death, and the man and the beast. All right, why? Because they're defiled. They're beyond defiled. Okay, it says a male prostitute. All right, a man who prostitutes his body to another's lust for hire, and just reading that and reading the article that I read earlier, you could see, okay, that fornicator mentality that he has. All right, that profane person that he is. Which, when you go into that word profane, it says accessible, lawful to be trodden. Like it says unhallowed. It says of men ungodly. Okay, profane, ungodly. And that's exactly what it is. Ungodly, heathenish, it says. Because everything that's ungodly is always a heathen custom. Okay? It even says by implication of Jewish notions. Heathenistic, heathenish, wicked. Showing your ass Jewish people, all right, are wicked. Let's go for another lesson right there. All right. Let me see. There was another word that I wanted though. Damn, there was something I looked up earlier. One second, real quick. Let me bring out. Um, this is Job 30 and 8. Right? It says they were children of fools, yet children of base men. They were viler than the earth. All right. To go into vile, the word vile, right? I should have got to that. It says extremely unpleasant, foul, nasty, unpleasant, morally bad, wicked, of little worth or value. You see, this devil ain't got no value in life. That's why he is of no value. All right. He's a foul, nasty, unpleasant, disgusting, morally bad, and wicked ass soul, man, that will never know any type or even have a taste of righteousness, because it's not in him to be righteous. All right. So he was made to be the wicked. So he's going to teach you the wickedness of the society. All right. Let me go into thinking about vile. Let me go into this precept, Isaiah 32. Isaiah 32 and Isaiah 32 and 6. It says, for the vile person will speak. I guess they want to say, damn, this word is in like old English. Villainy, I guess it is. Villainy. The vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity. You see? And this devil's vile. All right. So here is his mind working iniquity on the people. All right. Trying to show you, oh, well, we're going to start talking about, child PORN in the classes. And, we're going to make it seem like it's okay. Like it's the righteous way. Right. That's him doing what? Okay. His heart working in iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord. And see, that's the main thing that he want to do. He want to have our people, all right, uttering errors against the Lord, mouth by mouth, all right, physically, by just doing things that are wicked and causing us to sin. He wants us to go off in error spiritually. You see? It says to make empty the soul of the hungry. You see, because that's what he's trying. That by you doing the wickedness that this devil does, all right, all that shit is just draining your soul, draining your spirit till your soul is empty. Because you're the hungry. You're the one that's thirsting. We're the ones that are thirsting for hunger, for righteousness and hunger and in thirst. Okay, so it's killing our spirit. It's draining our spirit on a daily basis. And it says, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. All right. How does he do that? With all these philosophies, all these different religions and shit like that. It says the instruments also of the true are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. You see? And that's them lying words right now that they're bringing out on the poor, all right, on the Israelites. And here it is, we're the ones that are speaking upright, trying to wake up the people, and this devil's trying to bring them down as low as possible. Okay? So this is what the devil does, man. Right? Let me grab another precept. This is Romans 8 and 7. Romans 8 and 7. It says, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. What did we just read? How this devil's all about making sure that you are in error against the Lord. All right. So to fall into these pleasures of this society, to fall into the ways and philosophies that they teach you, to believe that this is right and this is normal when it's in the raw reality wrong, disgusting and worthy of death. All right. It says to be caught because the carnal mind is enmity. So that means that all that right there is carnal minded, man. It's all carnality. Right? This is why the Lord tell you to walk in the spirit. So it says, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. And if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you, now if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. And none of these are of Yahawashi, man. So when you see them trying to teach you that this is okay, this is right, no, it's a trap. It's all to make you go against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. All right? Because the Lord not dealing with no type of fagonometry whatsoever. All right? As a matter of fact, let me grab, what is that? 1 Corinthians, I think it is, 9th chapter. What is it? 2 Corinthians. Give me a second. This is 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. It says, be not deceived, neither fornicators. All right. Matter of fact, let me go to the blue letter. It says, be not deceived. As a matter of fact, I start from 9. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Salakia. It says, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. So if any of you that are Israelites follow after this wicked, filthy ass shit that they pushing out, all right, you will not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. It says, be not deceived, neither fornicators. There you go. Going into these fornicators. All right, let's go into that word fornicator. All right, it says, again, pornos. Let me see, because sometimes they switch it up. That's why I looked it up again. Now it says the same thing that it said over there. Going into pornos. All right. It says, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. You see, and that all right there, that all pertains to that whole rainbow Skittles bullshit right there, man. Because they all effeminate as hell. They're all adult. They're all committing adultery in strange ways. Okay, and they're abusers of themselves, man. They're abusing themselves in a immoral way. Okay. It says idolaters, which that goes into worshiping idols and all that. Okay. That word fornicator. You know what? Let me see this. Fornication. Because I know one of them breaks it down real good. Fornication, I think it is. 1 second. Let me see. Yeah, that's what I wanted back before. This was in Jude 1:7. Fornication, giving themselves over to fornication, to go a whore and give one's self over to fornication. So no, there's another one. That one wasn't called pornos that time. Hold on real quick, give me 1 second. Because there's one where it literally goes into bestiality. It tells you sexual intercourse with relatives and committing adultery. You know what I'm saying? That's what fornication really means. It's not no sex before marriage or anything like that. It's you indulging in those type of in that type of manner. All right, sleeping with a relative. All right, you which check this out. That's wow. That's spiritual. That's spiritual right there. Here it is. It says sexual intercourse with a relative is considered as fornication. Well, look how wicked that shit is, and look how spiritual that is. That what ended up happening after Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, after that, it was destroyed, and who was the only ones that were survived? It was Lot and his two daughters, and what did his two daughters ended up committing? They ended up committing incest, having sex with a relative, fornication. That's how it's almost like saying, on a spiritual sense, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah was so wicked that that shit was still in their ass. You see, them demons were still lurking around them, man. Because that's a heavy ass demon, man. To the point where they really thought that there was nobody on earth. And then what they do, they got their father drunk, and they slept with him on 2 different occasions, 2 separate nights to, each of the daughters. And that's how you got, which I did a video on that not too long ago. That's how you got Ammon and Moab. Okay? Which Moab back in the day was called Mongoloids. And Mongoloids goes into Down syndrome. And that's what happens when you have incest. Down syndrome happens in your family, man. That's why the Moab and Ammon look like that, man. They look like they straight Down syndrome for real. Okay? But yeah, I was looking for this word fornication. See, I know I've definitely ran into it, but there's like a million fornication words, and you just gotta find it in the right spot. But it definitely says that. All right. Let me see. Hold another precept I thought about. Okay. This is Isaiah, and I pretty much ended. I made the point. 1 and 9, and it says, "Except the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai of hosts, Lord of hosts, had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah." All right, meaning what? We should have been wiped out a long time ago. All right, if it wasn't for the Lord having a true remnant, okay, that was not going to bow down to Baal. All right, that we'd all be destroyed, man. You see, because of the wickedness that constantly surrounds us. All right. What was Sodom and Gomorrah? It was destroyed by sulfur and fire. All right. So the Lord is showing you that this is going to come to this place. It ain't going to be sulfur this time, though. It's going to be nuclear missiles. Okay. From New York to Cali, disintegrated. Okay, nothing left. Okay, but broken down shit and burnt up to the ground. And this is why we got to get these devils out of this rulership that they're in. All right, because if we stick here anymore, there will be no flesh saved. All right, we will be completely wicked to the point where we lost touch of ourselves. Well, we pretty much did that. People have done that now, but just on a whole nother level. All right, so hey, that's pretty much the point. Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. Salaki, if I was rambling all over the place, trying to keep it as edifying as possible. Lord willing, it was. All right, so with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kor Haloyim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakat Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone who were well, blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and Akwat that was listening in, Yahweh Rakatah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. Next one, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah, keep fighting the good fight, faint. One, about the ball soon.